Hey, everybody. Welcome to Office Hours, where we've been answering your media and tech-related production questions every single day since March 25th of 2020. We're getting near, I think next month sometime, our 2000th show without missing. So today, Jason Bache is our reader from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Jason, what have we got?
Unsak Dorje in Dharamsala, India asks, I've been asked to record a Microsoft team call with 8 in-person participants, each with a lapel mic, 20 remote attendees, and a pre-recorded video to play at the start. We'll use a 52-inch monitor in the hall. How many cams would I need? Please advise.
Okay, Ronnie Hofsoy is going to break this down for you. Ronnie?
Yeah, so if everybody is sitting on a line and in a panel kind of thing, I think it will be sufficient with 3 cameras. At least one of them need to be a camera operator on. If you have 8 persons, you will have 1 total. You will have a 2 up maybe or a 3 up that is kind of moved forth and back, and then you will have 1 close up. Normally, when we do it with this many persons, we have 4 cameras, and we have extra leverage to have different angles from the sides and from the front. So that is depending. I'm more worried about all the angles coming in from the remote attendees. How are you going to record all those? Are you going to do that ISO, or are you going to just take one kind of pinning computer and pin 1 or 2 or 3 or 1 gallery pin, etc. So you would probably at least use something like 8 inputs. You might be able to do this with, for instance, an ATEM Extreme with ISO recording. So you need a ATEM Extreme ISO. So 3 cameras minimum, and depending on how many angles you will get from the pinning machines, or coming in from the teams as ISO. You can have NDI feeds, or you can have Microsoft also output to a decklink card, for instance. Just make sure that the Teams account you are creating this Teams meeting in has the correct permissions for you to actually enable ISO recording either through NDI or SDI.
I would support everything Ronnie said. The only thing that I would want depends on the nature of the thing. If it's just a static sitting and talking from stage and everybody's polite and the rest of that, 3 cameras would be fine for you. I would like more if it's going to be any reaction shots, which is the wide shot, the shot on isolated who's speaking next and that kind of thing. But sometimes the best part of the story is told by how people on the panel are reacting to what other people said. So that's, I'd try to get 2 more if I could, if I thought the panel was going to be either spirited, not necessarily contentious, but if it was going to be contentious, I would definitely want that to be able to see what people were thinking about what the people speaking are how they're reacting to them. Ronnie, you wanted to come farther in?
Yeah, the 4th camera is normally being used for a reaction camera, or if people are asking questions from the audience in the venue. So that means you need to have 2 operated cameras, be it PD sets or manually controlled cameras. So it's all up to the production quality you would like to be sending out to the teams.
Punchak, thank you for the question. Let's go to our next question.
Coming in from the QR code, Roger Martin in Tonto Basin, Arizona asks, looking for an inexpensive external encoder to do AV1 for personal use only. Thanks.
You know, we had a little discussion of encoders up at the beginning of the show before we started because everybody kind of had the same thing. Encoders can get very expensive to get really good ones. So inexpensive means that you're going to be kind of down there in that zone of maybe not the quickest or the best signal coming out. Courtney, you work with these. What do you think?
I haven't got the final answer for you. I was trying to research this a little bit. The problem with AV1 is it's to encode properly. It's a dual pass or HEVC encoder. It's slow, and to do, I don't know if it doesn't say, sorry about the glitch, it doesn't say whether they want to do it real-time encode or not, or if they're just going to do offline encoding. So if you have a good high-end video card, like an NVIDIA card, like a 5090 or a 5070, it can probably do, only the top end ones can do AV1 encoding. They all do AV1 decoding. I did find this company online called Visionular. I don't know. They have a free trial, free cloud trial that you can try for encoding AV1. So you might give them a look and see, try it out, see if that'll do the trick for you, and see what kind of hardware. I haven't dived deep enough into it to see what kind of hardware is required to do that. If any, it may do it in the cloud. So if it does it in the cloud, I don't know if it'll do it real time, but there's a choice.
Roger, hopefully that helped you. Next question.
Jason Bache in Albuquerque, New Mexico, yours truly, says, speaking of Cochrans, what happened to my backdrop?
And if this is your first time on the show, Cochran is for Guy Cochran, and it's throwing a question to yourself.
I'm not raising my hand, Courtney. I'm answering the question.
You're both pitching and catching in a game all by yourself. Anyway, we're happy to watch the game. Jason, take it away. What's going on?
So I'm in Woodstock, Illinois, and as of last Monday, the reason I haven't been on the panel at all is that I am now OWC's principal product futurist. And
lovely. Congratulations.
Thank you. What that will really mean, we will see. But long story short, I hope to really shape the product line, for as far out as we can.
Well, that is awesome. OWC has been a good friend of this show. I think all of us who are we have a lot of people on this panel who are highly technical and who do a lot of daily production, and they know the difference between equipment that is iffy and equipment that is rock solid. And around here, OWC has gained a reputation over the course of the years for being an incredibly solid line. In fact, I think most of the people who appear on this show own one or more pieces of OWC equipment. So congratulations. Ronnie Hofsoy wants to weigh in on this. Ronnie?
Yeah, so what are your plans for your future backdrop?
More color. In fact, there's going to be more color back here as of tomorrow. So rest assured, there'll be more color.
I want an accounting in about 6 months of how many interfaces and how many ingest ports you have surrounding you on your desk, because OWC is famous for these 13, 14 port interfaces for the stuff that I use.
Keep in mind, I'm not moving to Woodstock, Illinois.
That was my question.
No, I'm not.
Okay. Chris Fenwick.
That's all I wanted to ask. It's like, whoa, wait. Mr. Albuquerque is moving to Illinois? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Well, no, we still get Jason here. He's going to be back in his own thing. But anyway, congratulations. We're very pleased for you. Let's move to the next question.
Brett Below in Appleton, Wisconsin asks, what's the best method or cleaner for removing smudges from an ND filter plate or prompter glass? Have you ever tried, say it with me now, Woosh?
As soon as I hear the word teleprompter, we try to get to Courtney Gooden, who has one of those little golden statues behind his shoulder for things related to teleprompting. Courtney, dive in.
Woosh. Well, for many years, we used a Pancro glass cleaner that was provided by our glass manufacturer. And one day I asked him, well, what the heck is in this stuff? And he said, well, it's just distilled water and 50% isopropyl alcohol. So that's what works. One thing you wanted to be careful of, there's a coated side and a non-coated side. And it depends on the glass who built your teleprompter. Sometimes there's two coated sides. There's a vacuum metallized side, which should always be facing the talent. And then there's sometimes a fluoride coating, which is an anti-reflective side that is usually facing the camera. And that prevents a secondary reflection on the glass, and it also prevents back reflection into the lens. But what I've been using for the last 40 years or so, and have not seen any ill effects from it, is this ammonia-free, and that's the important part, Sprayway foaming glass cleaner. And it's nice because this foaming action one here on the end, it's an aerosol. I've decanted into smaller spray bottles because when I threw these spray bottles in a bag, they always get the top gets knocked off of them and the spray thing gets lost. So anyway, but it's an alcohol-based foaming glass cleaner. It has a little bit of detergent in it, and you need something that'll break up oils, because constantly on prompter glass you get some bozo going up trying to point at some word on the prompter, and he hits the glass with his finger, or she, and leaves a smudge of nose grease right in the middle of the frame. So you need to put something on there, get something on there, a super soft cloth that's lint-free. I spray the foaming thing on the glass rather than on the cloth, which is, if you're cleaning electronic equipment, you can spray it on the cloth. If you're cleaning glass, probably want to spray it on the glass and lightly wipe it off. This particular spray way evaporates very quickly and leaves no residue. So that's what we've been using, and blow it off if there's no fingerprints with, a can of spray air to get the dust off of it. Otherwise, you got to go in with something that has a little detergent and a little alcohol to get it off.
Did I misunderstand you? Do you decant aerosol sprays into a smaller
I was about
thing?
to say, yes.
Like
I'm trying to picture wine that with the ammonia.
I have these little squirt bottles that are designed for people travel hairspray things. They're pumps.
Oh, yeah.
Pump. And you take the top off. I point the spray weight cleaner in there and just go until
really?
It's up
and
with the actual clear liquid. Yeah, that's inside there.
Interesting. I never thought about that. I was sitting there picturing taking two pressurized cans and trying to get those little round nozzles together so that one pressurizes the other, and it seemed like a disaster waiting to happen. Anyway, Ronnie Hofsoy wants to get in on this.
Yeah, and if you would like a source of that small spray bottle, you can use something from Zeiss. We've been standardizing all our kits with the Zeiss lens cleaning kit, which is of all the 7 different types of cleaning kits I've been using for our filters and lenses and glass surfaces, the Zeiss lens cleaning kit has been the absolute best. It comes with a small spray bottle. It comes with the really professional soft cloths. And just get a few of these, and I think your life will be saved for future cleaning operations.
Do you know how much that would be generically? Is it like a $5 thing or a $50 thing or a $150 thing?
No,
it says Zeiss. That answers the question.
But I have them suspected that they have found out a formula for this that they can trademark and charge a little bit extra. But the quality of the cloth and the rinsing liquid is really, really high quality. I've even used it for cleaning my sensors inside cameras. So it is really, really good. It does not leave any residues at all.
So that may be one of those buy once, cry once things we talk about. Chris Fenwick.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, Jason, I bought the Woosh once when you talked about it, and my monitors have never been cleaner. And I was cleaning the TV here at the apartment once, and my wife saw it. She goes, "Oh, hey, can you do the windows too?" I was like, "No, no, I will not."
Windex or Joy with water works really well for Windows. Yes,
but it was so funny, and I didn't want to tell her how much the Woosh cost.
No,
it's not horribly expensive, but it's not for Windows.
The key to Windows is a long squeegee. Get one of those really thin, long squeegees, and they're fabulous. That's what professional window cleaners that I've seen working with them do. Next question.
Paul Walhus in Austin, Texas asks, how do you bypass Google Veo 3's 8-second clip limit using Google Flow's frame-to-video feature that lets you create longer videos with character consistency?
Courtney Gooden's going to take a shot at this here. Courtney?
I have not done this myself, but I've watched videos on how to do this. Is that you generate the first video. The key is getting that first anchor video, or starting with a reference image of the character you want to use. And it has to be somebody who's not famous. Otherwise, the guardrails will get you. And they will say, no, we're not going to put that guy in here. So start with that and use that for reference. And it can generate videos with that face as a reference. And there's some newer ones than Veo 3 that newer text-to-video generators that are a little more consistent. But with Flow, Flow is Google's app for editing together, assembling a number of AI-generated text-to-video images into a sequence. And so what you do is you generate the first one, and you get it exactly how you want it, and then you load it into Flow, and then you take the last frame of that first piece, and you use that as a reference. And there's a choice when you're generating a picture of first frame as starting frame. And so use that the starting frame, and then tell it what you want it to do from there. And then you can generate the next chunk, 8-second chunk, and then you take the last frame of that 8-second chunk, and you say, here's where I want to go from there. So that's how you assemble a video with consistency of the characters lasting more than 8 seconds. And sometimes it's kind of difficult because your main character may stay the same, but if you're introducing a new character or something, they may come in and the background may change, or something may jump around, or there might be some lack of coherence between your original first shot and the background, let's say, on the second or third shot. So it's getting better and better. These arbitrary time limits are just to prevent you from hogging up all your time, and they're so popular these days to make it so that the render times won't be, 50 minutes on each little clip. So there's no necessary, I don't think there's a physical, a algorithmic limit to 8 seconds. It's just that they're parceling it out so that they can monetize it and to keep everybody from just overloading it to make their own movies.
Don't forget, we are always taking your questions. You can ask questions, chat about the questions, and vote on them. That happens in Mukana, which is our Q&A system. If you want to get into it, go to officehours.global/join. We'll send you an email within a day or two. Once you've done that, you can kind of get in the system, then you can ask, vote on, which is very important because we talk at more length and quicker about the ones that have the most votes, and discuss the show's questions in the general in our live community. It's on all the time while the show is happening, so it's a lot of fun, a lot of great people there. That's officehours.global/join. Next question.
Guy Cochran in Seattle, Washington asks, what makes for a good video editor versus a great video editor?
And I am so relieved because Chris Fenwick raised his hand for this one. Chris, dive in.
Well, I don't know much about editing, but I can tell you this. There's a great story. I don't know if it's true, but Tom Hanks tells the story. And he was, early in his career, I think he was doing a stage thing, and the director, during rehearsal, just was so infuriated at the entire cast. And in his tirade, before he told everybody to take a break, Tom Hanks tells the story that this director said, there's 3 things that you need to do. And I'm going to read it because I want to get it right. I just Googleized it. He says, show up on time, know the text, know the script, and have an idea. And I think that you can apply that to any number of jobs in our industry. Show up on time, know what you're supposed to do, and show up with something to contribute to the story or the shot or the audio space you're creating or the set that you're building, whatever it is. Like, actually participate. And also, it helps if you don't, I'm trying to say this the appropriate way. Don't get upset if somebody doesn't like your idea. The number of times you're going to get rejected and turned down by either somebody who knows absolutely nothing or they know more than you do at that time. And I think, and that also applies in every aspect of this business, that there will be times when I know in post that I only see this much of the problem, and the problem is this big. And seeing this much, I'll say, well, why don't we do this? They go, oh, we can't do that. Okay. But you obviously know more stuff than I do, so whatever. Then what would you like to do? But I think the Tom Hanks thing is really good. Show up on time, know what you're supposed to do, and participate in the process.
Yeah, the other thing I'd add to that, I agree with everything Chris just said there. You really have to figure out where you are and how you fit in. There is no such thing as an editor. Somebody doing a reality show is different than somebody doing a daily newscast. There are skills that are equivalent. You have to understand your tools. You have to understand the audience. You have to understand the conventions of editing so that you don't do the stupid things we saw when people were given all sorts of switchers and they just put every effect in there because they thought it looked cool. You get to the point where you really understand the game as opposed to the tool. And I think that really makes a good editor. You also, as Chris brilliantly outlined, you need those people skills. You have to be able to talk to constituents. It may be the producers. It may be the director who's sitting in the booth with you. It may be that the client is sitting there with the director and they bring up something and you know when to not open your mouth and add to the discussion. All of those things makes you hireable as a good editor. And I just think, it's like I wouldn't hire the same person to write some poetry as I would to write a screenplay. They're two different forms, and it always reminds me of Michael Jordan, perhaps one of the greatest basketball players of all time, tried to play baseball, and he was okay, but he was just okay. And that's because he didn't have the hours on the field in one sport that he had in the other. And I'm constantly mindful of that. If I don't have hours in the chair on one form, I get real humble real fast and say, I may have known how to do that kind of editing pretty well, but I don't know how to do this kind of editing, and I have to learn it. And you have to do that by the most important application of all, which is application of your butt to the seat. Next question.
Our own Chris Fenwick in Emeryville, California asks, hey, Courtney, seen any interesting interviews on YouTube lately?
Courtney couldn't. What is this about? Is this a Cochrane?
Well, I was telling people before the show about this great interview that I found with Jeffrey Hinton, the godfather of AI. And this is a very good interview. It's an hour and a half on Diary of a CEO. And it had this, throughout this hour and a half interview, very interesting about Jeffrey Hinton's ideas on AI and where it's going and what you need to do in the future to still have a job after we reach general AGI, advanced, artificial general intelligence. But anyway, I throughout the interview, I'm going, God, this sounds great. And they keep cutting to the wide shot, and the wide shot, there's a nice chandelier overhead. I found the frame, by the way. I'll show you the frame I found because if I go off of it, I can't get back to it again. It's exactly at the
show the before frame first, though.
Well, that's getting back to this one.
He's got a frame buffer, yeah.
I'll go back. So it sounded great, and I've just got it paused right now at 1:29:34, I think, seconds. There's a one frame thing behind the scenes. Without it, I'll try and show the before. Maybe I can get the before in a little image at the bottom.
Period and commas, step one frame.
So what we're talking about basically here, while Courtney gets this set up.
You can set step one frame on a YouTube video because they're long.
Yeah, with the period and the comma.
Oh, does it work? Does transport control working out? Oh, cool.
Yes.
Anyway, there was an interview, and Courtney thought the sound was fabulous. The camera angle was a locked-off shot, and he wanted to know how they were getting such great sound in a wide shot like this without any visible sound recording equipment, microphones hanging right over them or whatever.
I can show you what I found out in this one behind-the-scenes frame that has been unaltered it's at the very end of the video. This is the actual setup. I couldn't see any lavs on them. I went, they sound great. And you'll notice this is the actual setup. There's like 416s or shotgun microphones on each of the people. And there's this wonderful overhead giant soft light. But when they cut to the side shot, let me see if I can find one. Oop, there it was.
I got it right here.
You got it?
Yeah.
Okay, there. Cut to... There, that's what the side shot looks like. And I went, wow, they sound like they're right on mic, and they sound a nice open mic. It doesn't sound like a lavalier. And
it's interesting that they added in that soft box-ish looking weird thing that I've never seen before up top to motivate the light.
The right downstream keyer could just smack it on there.
They matted in the fixture, that crystal lamp
Yeah.
at the top. That's artificial. And you'll notice that, the edge of the, you don't see the edge of the bookcase on the wide shot. But
I wonder if the quote unquote softbox is just draped over the existing chandelier.
no, it doesn't seem to be. It's
Okay.
a light. And I think that chandelier may be completely, I don't know if it's phony, but they replaced it with that softbox.
But it
Well, look at how
matches the
far-
art
oh.
direction of the sconce on the wall behind the guest on the far left.
Yeah, it may not be artificial, but it may just be, raised up and then lowered down to get a plate for the top.
Yeah, in reality, look how far the softbox extends over to the gentleman on the left, on screen left, stage right. The softbox goes way over him, and when they cut to the other one, the softbox is much smaller, and it's angled a little bit more to the right, I think, to get that mice type, to allow for the type. So they controlled everything.
Yeah, and it sounds really good because there's no lavs, there's no wires running off of people.
The part that bothers me most about the wide shot is the incomplete Rubik's Cube on the table.
Bother you.
This is
The downfall of high definition video.
I'm having issues. My ADD is having issues with this right here. I cannot live with that.
What in 4 moves?
Well, anyway, and did they take? I didn't notice. Did they take the whole bookshelf out? Did they just mat it out with another piece of roto or something?
No, I think it's just framed a little bit tighter. What I was going to say about this particular thing is that it reminded it, and when we were discussing this before the show, I got confused because I was saying, oh yeah, I love that show. It's edited really well. It has nice pacing and it uses 5 shots, which it does. And I said, yeah, a while ago I made a little graphic about that show. And then I realized, oh, wait a second, this is a different show. Now I can't remember what show this is, but this is the host guy of the other show. But it dawned on me, they're cut very similarly. They're framed very similar. I think Diary of a CEO has the close-up of the guest and then the wider shot of the guest, which, by the way, is used quite a bit more than the close-up. They really reserve the close-up for, real hard-hitting points. They barely ever use the 2-shot, but it's there so that you don't feel claustrophobic and you can see the relationship between the two people. But it dawned on me, I was like, when Courtney brought it up, I was like, I wonder if there's some commonality between these two shows. They're both very similar. They're both Brits in the U.S. talking about, tech stuff and other things. Very similar pacing, very similar styles, very similar camera work. I wonder if there's any relationship between the two shows.
It might be, or one might have
Maybe
studied
they're all
on
shot
the
by
other.
the same production company.
Yeah. Anyway, it works. It obviously it caught Courtney's attention. He's been in production for a long time and understands quality. And they achieved their final goal, which was a great sounding, great looking show that kept you engaged.
Yeah, originally on a lot of TV shows these days, they are allowing the boom person sound mixer to get because they like to shoot wide and tight to save time. Obviously, on a television show, you've got 5 to 7 days to shoot an episode, an hour-long episode for a weekly dramatic show, and so to save time, they'll shoot wide shots and tight shots, which is the heck on creating good sound because you got to stick to lavaliers for the wide shot, but then when you get on the close-ups, you don't have the good sound of a good shotgun mic in close to that actor to get a good, clean, open-air sound. So what happens is you compromise the close-up sound for the sake of that one wide shot that's going to be used maybe for 1.5 seconds at the opening of the scene, and then they're going to cut into over the shoulders in close-ups. So what they now do is they grab a plate with the mic clear, or they'll start the wide shot, they'll start the scene, and but right before the slate, the microphone boom will pull out and leave a clear top of frame. And then as the scene starts, the microphone will come into the wide shot. You'd think, well, that'll burn the wide shot, but Then they just use the plate of the clean frame to remove that mic in the 4-second shot, use visual effects to remove that mic in the post so that they can use the boom mic for most of the shots and not sacrifice the sound in the close-ups. So now with AI being able to paint stuff out almost seamlessly, you don't even have to hand it over to the visual effects department. The editor can remove the stuff really easily, even on a moving shot, which is really hard to do visually.
Next question.
Tommy Chance in St. Paul, Minnesota asks, I have an ATEM Production Studio 4K, but it has to have the same frame rate on all channels. Is there a hardware solution that might convert the signals that is cost efficient? 8 decimators are not.
What, you don't have 8 decimators sitting in a bag somewhere unused? Ronnie Hofsway, I'm teasing, obviously.
Yeah, so we've probably all been in this boat. My solution was to get another ATEM. We upgraded to first Extremes, the Minis, which is, by the way, the cheapest 8-input converters you can get on the planet. One of the really, really smart thing that Blackmagic did was to put scalers and frame rate converters on all the inputs on the cheaper line. So I don't know of any good broadcast quality or budget-friendly, good, stable converters for this. I wouldn't either recommend it. I would probably just do what I did and get a few new switchers instead.
Jason Beisch?
Yeah, I agree. I was really working hard on this, trying to figure out, here's the Production Studio 4K live switcher. And for the longest time, Blackmagic has had a very specific set of, product names mean a product thing, right? And I think they stopped calling things Production Studio because it all just kind of became ATEM. And so I'm burning my brain here thinking, okay, how is this any different than a normal switcher? And the answer is, it's got XLR audio. I don't know. Other than that, I feel like they actually wanted to just separate the audio between one component and the next to make that, pro audio thing that costs $1,000 that nobody buys. But no, I'm sorry, Tommy. I think you're stuck.
Don't forget, we do other shows in the evenings for those of you who are time offset from when we are on. I know some people, this is the middle of the night around the world because we are a global show, and that's why in the evening we do shows. And tonight is Extra Hours on Monday. For those of you who are interested, tune in this evening, and there will be some content for you. That on Thursday, we have the rundown. So look into some of the other things. They're really fascinating. Next question.
Jeff Veely in Henderson, Texas asks, when setting up remote kits for presenters that are not tech savvy, do you send lights? If so, what's in your kit?
And this is a big question. And Ronnie Hofsway is going to start you off here.
Yeah, so if our pre-check with this particular location or person does not have sufficient light, or if they have problems getting the correct light in front of them, we tend to send these small apertures, which is kind of multicolor, but there are some white or duo colors as well, and we just program them before we send them out, add a small magic arm to them, and put 2 in the kit, and it's only for them to just power them on, and they will be set, and that is the easiest way to do it. Of course, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of different solutions.
Yeah, I agree. That's one of the things when we were doing one of the music videos back during the pandemic for Office Hours, I sent out I tried to talk people into doing lighting for one of the music videos, and it was pretty successful, but it's like one of those things where you just spend a lot of time trying to get people to improve their lighting with whatever they have at home, because a lot of people don't have much at home. I can't tell you the number of times I was saying, do you have a lamp and do you have a roll of aluminum foil so that we could mask the light and try to get a better look for them on camera? But without any kind of tools, it is difficult. So I would have something like what Ronnie's suggesting in my back pocket, able to send out if they're just in a situation where it's going to be tough. Hopefully, it's not the situation where some executive's at their desk and they have a huge wall of windows and they're just getting blown out on one side. And the only way to fix that is to get something strong enough to counteract the windows, and that's hard to do. Jason?
I'm going to state the obvious, but I feel like it's worth repeating every time we talk about lighting. The highest quality source of light in the universe, at least in our solar system, is the sun. And if you can diffuse the sun correctly, it is the best light source there is. If you ask any director, except for whoever did Nosferatu, but at the end of the day, the sun is the best, period.
Well, certainly the strongest by far, although it's far, far, far away. And on a summer day in Phoenix, it was definitely a point source in that circumstance. Next question.
Roscoe Jones in Madison, Indiana asks, for schools that have banned phones, what basic camera kit would you recommend they purchase for students, and what advanced kits would you recommend? Budget is small and classes are large.
This one is a little bit tough because the biggest problem they're going to have is if you're doing any post-production with their footage, if you just go with webcams and things like that, they'd have, what is the UVC standard, then you have to plug it into something really to get the signal out into recording. So that means you're kind of talking camcorder maybe. And then for me, I never buy a camera of any type without understanding the post-production workflow I will use that camera with. That always determines for me a lot of things about the camera. Is HDMI appropriate for this? Does it need SDI? There's just a whole bunch of questions that go into the getting the signal out of the camera and into my edit system so that I can do things with it. And for schools, if you're just teaching communications, I don't think, no matter how simple the videos are, you're going to have to do some basic editing. So just think about that. How am I going to get it out of the camera and into the edit system, whatever one I'm using? Ronnie, you have some thoughts?
I feel there is missing a few things here. It doesn't say what class or grade this is, but if this is for kind of up there in the age, of course, they would probably be playing a little bit more with their creative focus, etc. So you probably would need some mirrorless bodies, maybe a Sony CV-E10 version 2 or similar. But then you have the problem with lenses, and it all adds up. So budget friendly, what is that in this day and time? I'm not sure what the usage would be, but I agree. Maybe just a classic camcorder, at least for younger people. We have used this for young people when they are just playing around. This is the AX700 from Sony, which is really, really long in the tooth these days. But it has an amazing autofocus, and autofocus seems to be the biggest problem for youngsters to be handling correct, and that is also true for these cameras. They handle autofocus very, very good, both the CV-10 and these older 4K camcorders. But I feel there is a few things in the question that is missing to be able to answer it kind of totally.
Courtney Gooden?
Well, it depends on, what are they going to be using these cameras for? Are they going to be, is this a film class? Are they supposed to be generating films, or is this for, streaming? Is this for, what's it for? The Osmo Pocket, the DJI Osmos might be a choice because they're small. And the important thing with kids is that you have some type of image stabilization, either optical image stabilization or a gimbal like is on the Osmo Pocket. The Osmo Pocket is tiny. They're a little bit dainty and a little bit problematic, I guess, to give into the hands. They're not, rock 'em, sock 'em, give them to kids and let them stick them on their skateboards. I would not do that. They have an action cam that's good for that. But you're limited in the amount of the size, the lens, and the coverage, although it can shoot 4K and you can extract a nice, decent 1080p image, closer image out of that. So that's one way to go. Maybe with an action cam, there are plenty of action cams that are really inexpensive. You can get action cams that are knockoffs of GoPros for, $30. They're not great sensors. They don't have high sensitivity. They don't have as good lenses, but when they run over them with the car or something, you're only out $30. So I wouldn't buy them something. I wouldn't furnish the class with expensive high-end cameras that I think you're going to have a very high toll on damage and repair and replacement, unless you get them something that is more or less disposable.
Ronnie, you have a return?
Yeah, I almost forgot the most obvious one, and it's this one. You might just purchase a few iPhones, register them to the school, and have them administer as a camera. This is a good way for students to learn using the creative abilities of an iPhone or similar, or even go with another type of phone. Just make sure they are delivered back when the class is over.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Kids really should learn to use the tool that they'll most likely have for the rest of their lives, and I would highly suggest the same thing. I mean, don't attach them to cell service. All you're using them for is a camera, so if they're, stopped from any access to the phone lines, you should be good. Jason, your thoughts?
I was going to echo exactly what you just said, Bill. I think an iPad, nothing. What you want is the least advanced thing that will teach the thing. And in this case, that an iPad mini would do it. Is it going to be amazing? No. Do you need amazing in order to understand an exposure triangle? No.
No, but they're going to be carrying these devices in their pockets for most of their lives. At least most first world students will grow up carrying their phones around. So not to teach them how to use them for storytelling and things like that just seems like a real waste of effort. Next question.
Tommy Chance in St. Paul, Minnesota asks, what are some of your solutions for attaching all the bits and bobs to your remote camera setups?
Ronnie Hofsoy is going to start us out here. Grip gear.
So one of the first things we add to any type of camera is the camera frame, often from a small rig or similar. And with those frames, or body cages or whatever you would like to call them, you get a lot of different connectors. You have the NATO connector most times on top. You have multiple screw-in, quarter-inch, etc. So you can add anything to that and just secure everything and put that in a pre-made flight case, and you will be good to go. So all the things that needs to be attached as a kind of an easy instruction. Put this here, use this clamp, and you will be good. So that is one. And of course, it also, the camera cages makes everything a little bit more rugged, and if they tend to drop it on the desk or even on the floor, it should be a little bit more protected as well.
Courtney Gooden.
Yeah, I'll second that. Small rig makes a variety of camera cages that look kind of like this that surround your camera, depending upon what camera you have. You can order them specifically for specific cameras with, they have these kind of what they call cheese plates that are top and bottom here that are filled with 3/8 and quarter-inch 20 threaded holes, and they also have cold shoes here to accept accessories like flashes and wireless mic receivers, etc. Another company that makes these is called Wooden Camera. They make a variety of cheese plates and accessory plates to go on your camera to allow attaching a variety of accessories. And you can just shop for all kinds of accessories depending upon the type of camera you have to attach lights, microphones, other cameras to your camera.
Next question.
Roscoe Jones in Madison, Indiana asks, if high schools are leaving their YouTube channels due to strikes on generated content and loss of access to direct content filters, what other delivery platforms might you recommend?
Well, this is going to be a little bit of a tough one, depending on what your what the administration wants to have happen on the back end. I've been a long-time advocate of next tier. I consider them next tier things like Vimeo, and my Vimeo Pro account is probably my single most used account. But if the administration is not comfortable with providing those other kind of services, YouTube is still I think the most watched source. Chris Fenwick, what do you think?
Roscoe, what I would do is I would have each class, each year, start their own YouTube channel and assign a few of the kids to be responsible for not getting a content strike. Have a few of the kids, give them the task of maintaining that and understanding the laws behind it. The high schools are there to teach kids about the world that they live in, supposedly. And why not teach them the realities of you can't just take any Beyonce song and make a video and put it on YouTube. You just can't do that. So let's learn. And to be clear, I don't actually think high school kids like Beyonce. I just pulled that out of the hat as an example. But teach them the realities of maintaining it. And who knows, maybe their channel gets struck before Thanksgiving that year and they have to start another one. Learn the process. Just learn the process.
There's some value in that. Jason Beige.
For the first time in history, my answer and Fenwick's are completely identical. I think that's perfect.
Yeah, this is the education about the real world out there. There's a ton of stuff, kids, that you can put on the internet that will get you in trouble one way or another. So learn that lesson real quick. Next question.
Robert Sababity coming in with a QR code question in Warsaw, Poland. How do you synchronize the start of an Instagram reel when streaming a video clip? For example, when do you press the go live button when the delay time is not constant to avoid a black screen at the beginning of the reel?
Complicated question. Chris Fenwick's going to try to help you solve it.
Nobody knows.
Yeah.
Nobody knows.
That's why I said complicated question.
Let us know if you figure it out.
Yeah. Alex would probably say test, test, test. If you're going to be doing this, one of the things that we often do is run something like a clock and then shoot at something and then send it somewhere and look at the delays, look at how much time it takes to get things booted up, to get the whole process and for it finally to appear at the other end. And by doing those relentless tests, you can actually figure out at least some intelligence about how the system you're in is operating. Jason Beige, dive in.
Yeah, more or less the same thing. Alex would call this warming the node, which, just means start before you're going to start and do it as a rolling start. And to that end, you are controlling whatever it is that happens beforehand. Apple does this with this 15-second annoying loop that gets ever so slightly different because they know that they're going to be pulling hype and adding attention because, of course, it's going to go on their main page and people are going to pick it up, even the people that aren't following this stuff like we do. But, yeah, warming the node, I think, is the only real way to do this.
Courtney Gooden?
Well, professionally, what we would do is download the video ahead of time using Downy or some other capture device, put it as a non-long GOP, video, translated to a QuickTime or an MOV or something that has individual frames in there, then queue it right up and use PlayOut-B or some other playout software to queue it up and go to it when you cut to it. That's the professional way of doing it. Depending upon, material that is online to start, especially anything that has H.264 or H.265 encoding on it, it's kind of, it's up in the air as to whether it will start on time. You send the signal to play and it may communicate and it may get, that play signal may get lost to the internet. It may start on the frame that you parked it on. It may not. It may go back to the previous iframe, which may be 4 seconds back. You don't know. So you don't know exactly where it's going to start and exactly when it's going to start. But if you download it, load it into your editing software and convert it to a non-H.264 format, an editing format, a proxy, and then just play it back from there and just make sure it has high enough quality to achieve your goal and allow you access to each of the individual frames and can park and go immediately. I wrote my own players to solve this problem, my own media players. To solve this problem, it could park at a specific frame and start, guaranteed to start from that specific frame. And I would preload all the videos in and have them parked at the exact frame so that when I cut to them, I could make them go on cue. But that's just me.
Ronnie Hofsoy.
Yeah, my tests show that depending on the region and depending on the bandwidth and the size, and everything has some impact on the latency of the starting. So, as everyone here says, I would just run a loop with something like broadcast starting in a few seconds or minutes, and just loop that with some nice graphics and let it stay there until you can verify that you actually are live.
Next question.
Paul Walhus in Austin, Texas, asks a question about Fenwick for Fenwick. Chris Fenwick, what's your reaction to being featured in Netflix preview in the top 10 movies?
Yeah, you're driving around limousines now that you've been on Netflix as a star, Chris?
No. Well, in all seriousness, it's something I wish I never had to be a part of. It's about a missing girl. It's not a movie. It's a documentary. It's a 3-part thing. Amy was abducted off of the Royal Caribbean ship in 1998. I've become very good friends with the family. The reason I was the reason I was in the documentary is I was on the ship working, making a Happy Faces video for one of my clients, and we happened to have footage of her dancing with the prime suspect the night that she went missing. I compiled those shots together and passed them on to the family. And then the tape went missing because the family, a representative of the family, gave it to the authorities. And in his opinion, the authorities was the ship security. Ship security destroyed it and then contacted me and tried to take my master tapes from me. The ship also told their onboard videographer to destroy any shots that he may have of the missing girl. What was super interesting, and I'll just go into this a little bit, was as an editor, I've been doing this for four decades, to have your words edited together, it was super creepy. And off air, I'll show you guys some examples of some of the things that happened, and it's weird. The producers did a great job. They got a lot of eyeballs. They posted a graphic over the weekend that said it's been streamed 866 million times since it was posted 2 weeks ago. But I will say the whole reason for any of it is people can only keep secrets so long. Somebody knows something about what happened to Amy all those years ago. And the family, to this day, is convinced that there will be a day when Amy walks through the front door. And they have been tireless, and it's just a tragic story. It's a horrible story. Brad has become a good friend. I'm very good friends with Iva, her mother. But if you haven't seen it, you should watch it. And if anybody wants to stick around afterwards, I'll show you some stuff that I promised I wouldn't show the real world.
Fair enough. Thank you. And yes, it is a tragic story. And let's not forget the people behind these news headlines are real people there who are sometimes hurting for a long time. Yeah. We have another question in the queue. Next question.
Paul Walhus in Austin, Texas asks, is there a behind-the-scenes video, official or unofficial, for the Dead and Company Golden Gate Park concert that we can watch? And he includes a link to the San Francisco Chronicle article.
Well, considering the entire idea of the Dead and people doing concert footage surreptitiously behind the scenes and being encouraged to bring cameras and bring recording systems, and it would shock me if somebody hadn't continued that. Now, the Dead's original fan base is getting older and older, and we lost Jerry a long time ago, and the band is certainly in a different era now. I think second or third generation people are involved in trying to keep the spirit of it alive, and I wish them well. But Jason Bass, you have some thoughts on this?
I am sure that there is a recording, or that there were many recordings made That said, will we ever see it? That second part of the question is the more relevant one. They may very well have been lost to time, like most recordings.
Yeah, absolutely. Next question.
Andre Dolay in Berlin asks, Jason, are you allowed to talk about your new job a bit more in detail? Well, how much time
People
do
are
you have?
curious.
Andre, so yeah, sure. We've got a few minutes, so I'll say a few more words about it. It's been months in the making, and of course, prior to it, I couldn't talk about it at all. I am incredibly excited to get started, and the goal, as stated, is to help shape the product line and kind of create a confluence of the existing products and the things that are as yet to be kind of disseminated, and to do so in a way that creates a convergence that I think everybody is going to benefit from. And in fairness, and keep in mind, it's not going to affect the way that we review these products at all. There is no pay for play on office hours, and there never will be. So, don't think for a moment, for example, that in the past I've recommended these products for any other reason than I genuinely believe they are the best. And in fact, this is my doubling down on that. I wouldn't take a job here unless I actually thought that. So that's all you're getting for now.
Consensus. That's been a general consensus here for a long time. I mean, Larry's been on the show before, and everybody got respect for. This is a head of a company who really does pay attention to all the technical details and tries to make the best possible product. That's how a lot of us feel. It is not a discount cheap product, but boy, a lot of us rely on this every day for sending our signal out into this show and to everything else we do. And so I feel like it's a really good match, Jason. We're really excited for you. And I wish you absolutely the best possible results from all of this. That's going to be our show for today. Thank you so much for being a part of our office hours community and for showing up here every day and contributing your attention. You are one of the reasons, well, you are the reason we do this. Without our audience, without our what we call producers, because you are producing this show by asking your questions and voting on those questions, this wouldn't happen every day. So it's incredibly important you participate, and thank you for another great show today. To the panelists who show up and freely add their expertise into the conversation. Without you, we couldn't do this either. So to everyone who shows up and just gives their time for free to help everybody understand this technology and these ideas in more detail, thank you. And to our amazing back-end crew, the people spread all over the world who wake up every morning with us, and they can be pushing buttons somewhere. They can be helping organize the back end. There's the whole Discord. There's just so much that are moving parts and making office hours function. And thank you to everybody who does that. Chris, you're playing with something. Are you playing with something that you want to show?
I'm sorry. My mic's open. I apologize. Wrap up the show. Do the thing.
Okay. Telect Traversal today. If you were to go around and get this information from people, it'd be 40,000 miles. That's 65,000 kilometers, 320 million bananas for scale. We'll be back tomorrow. And don't forget, it's Monday night, so tonight, extra hours.
Nothing to see here. Move along.
Oh, I didn't.
So listen, I'm being asked if I want to. I'm going to go to after hours. I haven't been to after hours.
And there's
in a while.
the rest of the day, folks.
No. If you guys want to watch this,
there.
it's creepy. It's
Okay.
totally worth watching. Go to after hours. If anybody's listening to the credits, go to after hours.
Sorry, I have a real job now, Fenwick. I can't do that anymore.
No, you want to see this. Trust me.
You don't have to pay the tag for Saw 7.
I got to go find
out.
the link for after hours. Oh, here, find it.
Are we going to have a record on the after hours participants?
Maybe.
On a Monday?
Go to after hours. Go.
There you go. Thank you all. See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.